CT, go home and listen to podcast. Welcome to HowDoWeHuman. This is the podcast where we talk about all the weird and uncomfortable micro moments in life. I'm one of your hosts, Chris Binning.
I'm one of your hosts, Evan Cox. CT, go home, listen. You're a fan.
And today we have a special guest, a fan favorite, as we all know. The only guest who comes on every year. Everybody else we make wait longer, but every year, this is the return, everybody, of Mary Nguyen.
Thank you. I see that you guys still have that folder of blackmail for me every year. You dangle it over my head just to get me to come back.
You have to come back.
Or else they'll release it to the public.
Yep. Some damaging stuff.
We've got all the video of our improv performances, Mary.
Actually, genuinely, I do. I found it in my Dropbox. Or no, they're unlisted on my Vimeo account. And it stresses me out every time I see it.
It's nice of you to never choose to just delete it, but instead leave it there.
They're there. They have to exist. I know. I know what happened.
You're talking, Evan, like somebody who got abducted by aliens. You know what happened.
I know the truth.
I am so excited that we get to talk about this because there has been so much news since we last spoke.
Yes.
About the alien, the alien stuff. Over the because we were talking about our summer plans. One of my summer plan of the past summer was just watching that Congress hearing about, or the Senate, Congress hearing about the alien properties that we have. But now I think because of, what's going on in the Middle East and that whole stuff, I am starting to believe that there is no such thing as aliens, because why wouldn't they come down to help out, bring peace?
This is a great point, because my thought has always been that aliens are out there, but they are in search of intelligent life, and they have not found it on Earth. They don't want to deal with us savages. They'll let us kill ourselves off. And they'll come back for the resources when we're all done.
They say, I would love a chocolate chip cookie, but this one's covered in ants.
Yes.
Certainly I could find a chocolate chip cookie that's not covered in ants.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're just waiting us out, they're like, it's almost time.
Yeah. They come back, they check out what's going on. That's when the different sightings happen.
Yeah.
But every time they decide not worth it, and they get out of here.
Yeah. Well, I think one of my favorite alien stories, because I'm an avid fan of that genre of conspiracy, was they actually portrayed it in this latest Netflix show. Have you guys seen that? I think it's called Encounters. It just came out recently.
No.
So I've heard of the story before, but I rewatched the episode. And it's about these kids in I can't remember what country. I think maybe South Africa or something, or Zimbabwe, or an African country. And the school collectively witnessed an alien ship land in the 90s. I think it's 1994 or something like that. And they all collectively saw this alien come out and telepathically tell them that they are ruining the Earth and that they need to do something about it. These kids in Africa somewhere, they were the problems. That was the crazy. That was the craziest idea to me, because why wouldn't aliens have this technology and stuff to telepathically tell anybody, but they chose an African school in the 90s of kids who don't have like technology or social media or anything at that time to be like, hey, you guys are ruining the planet. If you guys don't do anything, it's gonna be over.
That's the type. So anytime I like see or hear something unexplained, I usually go straight to like, oh, could this be aliens? But this particular story to me sounds like some government bullshit. Like, this is the government piping in through an intercom to blame school children so that they can wipe their hands of all the bad stuff that they do.
Yeah, they're like, oh, we're drilling into the core, but we warned them.
We told the children they were the problem, not us.
That is a part of the thing. So, like, I would agree. I'm also not as much as you are, Mary, but I am a fan of the alien side of conspiracy theory. And when you are, half of that is like the government is orchestrating all. It's the X-Files. It's like, yeah, half of this is fun alien stuff, and half of this is not fun, the government stuff.
Yeah, it is very interesting. But I do have another story that I could tell you.
Okay.
So this is like fourth-hand information, but so my boyfriend is friends.
Close Encounters of the Fourth Kind.
So my boyfriend is friends with somebody who has worked for NASA. Like, he's like a contractor that builds cameras specifically for them. And he told my boyfriend that when they were in Australia, because that's where they launch a lot of those cameras out of Australia, they launched a camera into like the stratosphere or whatever. And they caught something that's very unexplainable. Like, they saw this object on the screen because they're getting while watching it. Or actually, I think it came down and they like checked the footage after that, and they saw this object that was moving very unexplainably, like as if it's like bending physics, like that kind of movement. And so they showed it to the NASA guys, and they deleted it right away. They were like, we're not talking about this. And then they proceeded to talk amongst each other for an hour about it. And that was
Fascinating.
Like, so it makes you wonder how much footage there is out there, but then they delete it right away because they don't want to talk about it.
True. Yeah. Everything we see is a leak.
What
are you hiding?
It's also weird because it seems like the general public is like, yeah, aliens are out there for sure. So like,
Yeah.
just tell us, just share the stuff.
Feel like
We all know what's going on.
A more recent turn of events, because we did an episode before about ghosts, and that's always kind of held the same thing. Where I'm like, I had some experiences that felt like a ghostly encounter. I'm not going to say 100%. Yes, I believe in ghosts, but like, there is a level of like, people are going to look at you like, okay.
Yeah.
And it felt like aliens had always kind of been that thing too. And for me, I'm like, the odds are with me that there has to be other. We're not it. We're the tiniest little part of the entire universe. Well, very likely there's something else out there. But it feels like more recently that people are not giving you the stink eye for saying like, yeah, there's intelligent life out there.
Yeah, there was definitely, because I think someone was talking about how back in the day, there was definitely like a more orchestrated campaign against making these people crazy, you know? Like, I think part of that docuseries, which I highly suggest people to watch on Netflix, called Encounters, I believe. One of them, in that episode that I was talking about the African school kids, this American Harvard professor of psychology, he became branded as a psycho guy because he was actually accepting people's stories about alien encounters and making them not feel crazy about it and just listening to them and being a human being, if you will. But they really wanted to like They can't have it. They really wanted to take away his tenure and like fire him from Harvard for being a nice guy.
Yeah, I mean, when you talk about anything other than Harvard, Harvard gets pretty mad.
Yeah.
Harvard.
I used to listen to a late night radio show, Coast to Coast AM,
Yes.
which is, a bunch of people call in and they talk about, their weird ghost encounters or their weird alien encounters. Or, some people that call in, hey, I would love to be a caring Harvard professor, but some of these people that call in are nuts. One dude's like, a Noah's Ark is on the moon. It's like, I don't know how we're going to transition into a story I can believe now. Like, I don't know.
There is this really cool story from our Coast to Coast where this guy who was like, I went rogue from like Area 51. I don't know if you've heard this. It's like a really old clip of like, he was just saying like, they're after me. I only have like X amount of time to tell you what's going on in Area 51. And then the whole station at Coast to Coast just shuts down in the middle of the call.
Ooh,
like, it's just like those coincidences that are just like a little too real,
Yeah.
Yeah, that all kind of comes back to what it feels like, and I guess we're also seeing that now. Is like, there's the Area 51 stuff. That's kind of the first point where America as a whole is not going like, aliens are real, but is going like, well, what is this? What happened? Talk to us, government. And it does feel like, and this is where things get awkward as a human being. Because I don't want to say stuff like this. Because this makes me sound nuts. And that's awkward.
This is the bar we're at, yes.
Yeah, but like, it has always, to me, felt like clearly the government is absolutely aware of alien life. They have, some of these hearings or so have suggested that they have alien spacecraft that people have seen that they're not allowed to talk about, and they're working on trying to figure out the technology. And it feels like when it's inconvenient for the government, they say, nah, you're nuts, you crazy people. But then when there's something they really want to distract from, they're like, let's have a hearing. let's get senators involved. Because that always cuts things down.
Yeah.
So there's no way, even though in my mind I'm like, that's the most rational thing I could think of. There's no way to not sound a little off your rocker going like, the government picks and chooses what we know about aliens.
I think Ring right now is running a contest, or not a contest, but like a reward if you catch alien life on their Ring camera, which is like really fascinating to me. Because because there are so much Ring cameras now. Our whole country's become like a surveillance, like just like everything. There's so many cameras and we haven't caught one yet.
It almost makes me assume that very shortly Ring is going to announce their subscription program, and to watch the footage you have to pay $5.99 a month.
Yeah.
Bundle it with Hulu.
Yeah, also all sorts of fake videos of people just trying to win the contest are gonna come out.
Yeah, I mean, like, there are very convincing
the alien from Signs walking by.
Yeah, just like a. I think there was this one story, and not to jump like from topic to topic, but this is like within the realm of aliens and stuff. But I think I saw this clip from Joe Rogan. I know your guys' number one bald podcaster enemy. But he had this guy on named James Fox. He does like documentaries on aliens and stuff. He did a documentary on, I haven't seen it. It's like this alien craft that crash landed in Brazil, and he went down there to go interview a bunch of people, and then he made this like really interesting like connection that I hadn't thought of, where he met with this one army dude, and he was like, man, I'm looking into his eyes, and I was like, this guy has seen an alien. He's driven with an alien. His eyes are just like, he's seen shit. That's like crazy to me to think that. I'm pretty sure we are walking among a lot of people who have seen shit that we can't explain at all. And we've met, it's like by the 7 degrees removed from like an alien kind of thing.
Yeah, I think a lot of it is the I don't know, destigmatization. It's the normalization of talking about it, because it is the same with ghosts, where I would say, as opposed to aliens, in all likelihood, when it comes to ghosts, very likely they don't exist, but there is this common like thing. Oh, the brain is doing this specific thing. And if it was normalized for everyone to just talk about these experiences that we had, then we could figure it out. But we can't, because it's like, no, don't talk about ghosts, you nutcase. Like, I'm sure for every person that is out and out, like, I've seen a UFO, blah, 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 blah. There are plenty of people that have seen something that they didn't understand and just wrote it off, or didn't want to talk about it because people would judge them. But I think we are getting to a place where it's becoming a little bit more normalized, and people are talking,
Yeah.
and it's interesting. Chris?
Well, Mary just mentioned, that we are walking among people who have seen stuff. Because the other theory, or not the other theory, another theory, is that we are walking among the aliens themselves.
True.
I think last episode, or maybe 2 episodes ago, I mentioned that I had flown to Ohio and stopped in Chicago Midway. And on this flight from LAX to Chicago Midway, there was a guy that I sat next to on that flight who was in the aisle seat, refused to get up to let me into the middle seat, had me crawl over him, and when the guy in the window seat wanted to get out and use the bathroom, I couldn't, get out of his way, so he had to climb over both of us. And then, at another point during the flight, probably with the last, 45 minutes to an hour to go, he reaches into his bag, pulls out a little, like one of those orange pill bottles with the white cap, unscrews it, dumps the contents out onto the napkin on his tray table, and inside, exactly like that bottle, Evan. But I don't know if this is what's in your bottle, Evan, but in his were just salted peanuts. Did I sit next to an alien?
That is possible.
That is very possible. Like, how bizarre. Why would you sneak salted peanuts in a prescription bottle?
I don't know. Doctor says I gotta take 4 salted peanuts every day.
I do need to know how he got that in, because you can't take open food through security.
Oh, that's probably why he put it in the prescription bottles.
So did they just not check? But it's also like, they give you so little if you're just flying coach. But the peanuts are on the list. They might give you peanuts. That's fascinating. I generally would be like, that is on the side of things. I don't generally believe. I don't think it's likely that there are aliens that are just like, hey, don't look at me, I'm normal. Prescribed peanuts. But you've just convinced me. Yes, you were sitting next to an alien.
Yeah, okay.
There are so many people, even they look kind of interesting to be human, because they say that there are people who are alien, quote unquote alien hybrids walking among us too. Have you heard of this theory?
No.
That So the reason why aliens are abducting humans is to, I don't know, to breed with us, I guess. This is what one theory, or extra.
Now I'm jealous. Why haven't I been abducted?
You're just standing there, like everybody around you is getting abducted. You're like, why not me?
Take me!
Am I not beautiful enough for you? So they have like a breeding program. This is like a theory, a conspiracy theory. And like, I guess either they take them to that their other planet, or they like come back and like leave a bunch of like hybrids among us to be raised, I guess. And I mean, there are some people who do look very odd, like interesting, like compared to being more like ethereal than human, you know?
Yeah.
So I tend to believe that idea. There's also another story. I do my extensive research, guys. I know a lot about
You came prepared.
So there was this other Reddit post, and like it was like kind of scary, and it was so hyper specific, so which made me believe that it was real. That this woman, she was going to her therapist, and she had gotten triggered. I forgot exactly why, but she has this extreme fear of aliens and stuff. And I get it. Like, it's a scary idea of just seeing like something that you cannot explain in your room and like abducting you to milk you or whatever.
You want to milk me? I have nipples,
I have
alien.
nipples, alien. Could you milk me?
So she has this fear, and she's telling her therapist, and then like I think it was based because she watched something about like hybrids, like alien hybrids, and then this therapist like got kind of weird and was like, "So what is this thing? I need to watch it. I have to watch it." And so the therapist goes home and watches it, and then comes back and says, "You know, this explains a lot about my life." And, like, she just goes into detail about, and she starts like the Redditor was like clearly having a panic attack because this is her fear, right? Like face to face, and she still went to the therapist just because she was like morbidly curious of like what this therapist discovered and stuff. But it is supposed in this post that the therapist was also a hybrid. And she finally connected the dots after she watched this documentary.
Oh, so the hybrids don't know that they're hybrids, is what the theory is. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Alien Matrix.
Yeah.
Interesting. I had not heard that at all.
No, me neither.
The idea of hybrids. And maybe that's the answer to How Do We Human. We don't. We're a couple of hybrids. Making our way through the world today.
I don't know if you remember this, Mary, but you have said that you thought I was an alien. So
I don't remember that.
How long ago was this?
A long time ago. It was when we were still doing improv. That's how long ago it was. But I do remember that. So maybe you're onto something. Maybe I need to watch the documentary and get back to you.
I know, I throw the maybe you're an alien around a lot to offend a lot of people. So.
Oh, great. So now I'm not special about that either.
But if talking to you and Chris and I go and watch that and go like, oh, maybe we are hybrid, like, and then we invite you back on. Do you consider this your therapy? And we're your therapists? Can we be your hybrid therapists?
I have no fear of this. I mean, at this point, it's a rescue mission to get me out off this planet. I'll be in a zoo somewhere, please. No debt? Are you kidding me?
No debt? Only milk? Great.
I have to be a mother to aliens? That's fine. That's the price I had to pay.
I don't know. I think I'd rather be in financial debt than milk debt. But that's just me.
Evan, you're behind on your milk again.
Give me some milk, Evan. I can't.
Lactose intolerant. To get back to the thesis of this podcast of things that make us feel awkward, I want to be a witness to a UFO or a UAP as they insist on being called now.
It's like years,
not to sound like a conservative, but not to sound like a conservative, but I'm still gonna call them UFOs. But anyway, as being someone from Phoenix,
yeah,
I feel very left out that I never saw the Phoenix Lights in person.
Know what that is.
There was like a group of 5 or so, just like lights in the sky, basically, all kind of in a line, and like not moving, like not really explainable. I think that they, it's one of those like, oh, it was a military exercise. With weather balloons or whatever. It's like, oh, okay. But one of those, it's like one of the more major quote unquote sightings.
Interesting.
And I never saw it. And I wish I had. I feel left out.
You gotta go back to the desert.
Yeah, so stare at the sky.
So I've been to Sedona, and I did see that they do UFO tours at night. Like, they take you out to the desert to go look for like those lights in the sky. So I think you should go back and try to do those tours.
Yeah, that's an interesting thing, because like I'm also interested in like ghost tours and stuff, but I know that on ghost tours, people are there's always gonna be one person in the tour group that's like, no, I saw the ghost. I experienced it. And like, that's so much harder to do on a UFO tour. But I wonder if people are like, no, I saw something go by. You guys were all looking over there, but something over here went by and I saw it.
I got abducted.
I'm special. It's like, no,
time for me is different than time for you.
Yeah, exactly.
10 years have passed. Look at this gray hair. I'd also like to say I'm restarting my career as a pop artist, and I'm changing my name to Phoenix Lights.
Pretty good.
Fascinating. There is also, there is something to, because that's outside. I mean, there's, I guess, the two levels of sightings. People who say they've been abducted, and then people who saw something in the sky. And there is there's no way to say this without the obvious being true, which is just like, you didn't see anything. But I want to be like, when I was like in my teen years, as I love to talk about on this podcast, I remember being with a friend of mine, looking up in the sky, seeing something do a little like orb, do a ziggy zag, and then go away. And I'm not actually sure that that's a memory at all, or if it's something I've made up.
Or like a false memory.
Yeah.
That you probably saw something even more, but then they just like replaced it with like a tiny little orb.
That's where I guess our collective brains go. Either complete false memory, something I just made up, or something crazy happened and it was erased from my mind by the man in black.
Have you heard like that? Again, I listen to a lot of stuff. I read a lot of things. There was this one story on this other podcast I was listening to called Radio Rental. It's really good. It's with a really well produced like listener stories. And there was one guy who said that he and his whole family, this is not an alien story, but it still has like Men in Black in it, him and his whole family were outside, and they were like staring at the sky, and it's like nighttime, and they saw that the moon was vibrating. It was just like shaking back and forth, and they couldn't explain why.
Somebody's calling the moon.
And it was just vibrating, shaking back and forth. They couldn't explain it. And then the next day, 2 men in black dudes show up, and they were acting really weird. That's like, talk about alien shit. Like, they are, I've heard from like all these stories and stuff. They always talk about how men in black are the most bizarre human, quote unquote, human beings, because they don't have like a lot of like social cues or anything, and they always are, they don't really think things through, because so basically those 2 men in black, they changed the minds of everybody else except the guy who's telling the story, that they shouldn't care too much about what they saw about the moon. They were saying like, yeah, it's not important. You shouldn't care too much. And then they looked at the guy, because he was a kid at the time, and was like, one of them was like, should we erase his, or change his mind too? And the other guy's like, no, he's too young. And so they left. And so this guy remembers it to this day. Like, I was like, this is kind of such a dumb, like, thing. Why wouldn't they change everybody's mind? Like, this guy's got to remember, obviously. He just saw the moon vibrate. But yeah.
Well, that could
so
be.
It's like one of those things where you're like, are they really that smart?
Maybe I'm the little kid. I could have seen the moon vibrate. Or there was just an earthquake, and everyone was like, look at the moon!
I think that was like part of the story, that they were like, he was like, it was not an earthquake because nothing around us was shaking.
Okay.
Got you there, Evan.
Got me there. New theory, the Men in Black initially came up, grabbed all these people by the shoulders and shook them. And then said, yeah, look at the moon. You didn't see anything. And this is how they get their rocks off for the milk farm.
They got a milk quota, Evan.
This is how they work their milk up. We got into a weird place.
Here's a story from several months ago that I had written down, but I was like, oh, I have to save it for several months from now when we do an alien episode with Mary. I live kind of near the base of the mountains in Altadena. And I was driving home late one night at like midnight, maybe a little bit later. And I'm driving up the street, and then in front of me, I see 3 lights. Okay. And they're kind of zigzagging back and forth, kind of moving all around, getting closer to me. And I was like, oh my God, this is it. I'm about to feel special. And then they came into view, and it was 3 people on scooters, and the scooters each had lights. The disappointment that I felt.
I experienced this also similarly, driving one night, and it was the most disorienting thing I've ever experienced, because not all it was like I was driving and there was a car behind me, but it's nighttime, so all I see are the 2 lights, and then I look back and the car goes it splits behind me because it was 2 motorcycles. It momentarily scared the shit out of me, and I thought aliens had Transformers. And the Transformers were amongst us. Well,
Transformers are aliens.
They are.
They come from
That's
the
fact.
planet Cybertron.
This is off topic, but there's a certain point where it's like, we don't always have to take these properties from the 80s that were made for kids and try to make them like adult entertainment because you end up having to seriously read lines like we're from the planet Cybertron. That's okay. We don't need 8 Transformers movies.
So I had this thought when you mentioned abductions. So a lot of abductees, they do this thing where they wear their pajamas backwards to see if they were abducted the next morning, their pajamas would go frontwards, like correctly. They'll wear their pajamas correctly.
Oh.
So the idea is that like the aliens are so not into these sorts of details that they'll only do what's correct in society, you know?
Yeah.
Like it just like scrambles their brains that they're like, wait a minute, we can't put it on backwards. They'll know that we adopted them.
Yeah, okay, interesting.
I mean, the old, like, what everyone says is they're going up there, they're getting probed in that butt. Sounds like people came back, didn't mind the process. We're like, yeah, I'll put the hole in the back. Go to sleep that way.
It is interesting that, Evan, you have not been abducted since you have mentioned sleeping in the nude.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Like,
Take me!
You're ready.
Love me!
They're like, this guy's too desperate. We're gonna move on.
Yeah, like make us work for it a little bit.
And this is back to, I mean, anything we say on this, we could, be thrown away to Bellingham. Well, it's not Bellingham, Bellevue. I named a different Washington city that's not a state hospital. Anyways, fuck were we just They wiped my memory.
Getting abducted, Evan.
Abducted. The fuck was I about to? I was about to say something.
Sleeping in the nude.
Sleeping in the nude. Oh, but okay. So and maybe part of it is movies. Maybe part of it is the limited details we know that have happened or seem to have happened. And we place, like, we all have an image of what an alien looks like, right? And obviously certain movies have swapped that around. Arrival, man, a little like ink blots, which was cool. But, genuinely, kind of feels more likely. Basically what I'm saying is, we put like thoughts and emotions onto aliens, and we make aliens in our minds like very facts. Yes. No, let's learn. We're just very knowledgeable. But like, why? What what logic do we have, or what proof do we have that, like, yeah, if there's alien life out there, they're very logical beings that would just do this? Like, no, they would probably come here and be biased against certain of us, and they might see me sleeping nude and be like, desperate much?
I think it's based on like the idea that they're so advanced, that they're able to travel across the universe, and we haven't even done that because we are just dumb monkeys who care about land for some reason.
Here's the thought, though, and here's the new thought. Here's the new school of alien tech. I would argue that they're being able to travel through the galaxy at will. I mean, we don't know that it's at will. Maybe every time we see one, it's like, that was a lot of work, like us going to the moon. They might just have different... I mean, they definitely would have different technology. Probably stuff we don't even understand, can't even understand, especially going back to the idea that the government might have alien crafts. They still don't understand how they work. Doesn't necessarily mean they're smarter. That might just be the, like, materials they have on whatever planet they're coming from or whatever space they're coming from. I don't know. I like to think aliens might be dumb. Because it makes me feel comfortable.
I mean,
Yeah, I think that you're doing the thing of like aliens, they're just like us.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
I think they might be. No, not just like us. But I don't know. I don't see any reason to place unfounded intelligence on these beings. I'm smarter than an alien.
That's a good game show.
Are you smarter than an alien?
Yeah.
I
Once we
mean-
start capturing more of them.
I'm pretty sure we'll I honestly think that we can outsmart them, outwit them. I mean,
Survivor?
they outwitted them with
Outlast?
the backwards pajamas. That's how a lot of people know that they're being abducted at certain times.
Apparently.
And like that, and like what that story that I told you about those two men in black, why they didn't wipe that one kid's memory, even though he remembers it.
Yeah.
To this day, there are certain stories where you're like, yeah, I think I can outwit them, like emotionally, because we have emotional intelligence compared to them. And yeah, I think I may agree with you, Evan, that we could be smarter.
No, I think you're both wrong, and we'll be the first to go.
I mean, there's also that argument of like people, and maybe this is just like Evan's got a death wish, baby. But like, it's the same as like when people talk about like the zombie apocalypse. It's when, not if. And they go like, "Oh, I'd be like The Walking Dead, and I'd live this miserable fucking life." I'm more on the side
I'll
of like,
be dead.
if
I'll be
aliens
part
are
of The
taking
Walking
over,
Dead.
like I'm fine to
Yeah.
be the first one to go. I would love to be the one that just like got hit by the ship coming in before anyone knew what the fuck was happening.
Yeah.
Like,
You'd
"Ah,
love that.
I don't have to worry about it. Great, done. And then I can watch from the skies. Because when you get hit by an alien ship, you become an alien ship. I believe
It's like
this.
zombies. I get it.
Everything is like zombies. Whatever kills you is what you become. What if that was true and a murderer killed you and you became a murderer? Think about that. Twilight Zone.
Oh, interesting.
Murderer, zombie, murderer apocalypse.
The murderers have invaded. I got a couple quick little things. Last night I was thinking about this episode, and I looked out at the mountains and I saw a bright light emanating from behind the mountains where there's no buildings up there. I was like, what could this be the time where I am special? And then I thought, no, it's probably like a wildfire and I'm seeing the like light from the flames.
True.
But it was not a wildfire. Does anybody have a guess as to what I saw behind the mountain?
What?
They just opened a new AM/PM.
That's a good guess, Evan.
The Toomgus is running wild out there.
Not a wildfire. AM/PM, pretty good. I have no idea. What was it?
The answer was that non-vibrating moon coming up from behind the mountain.
So you mistook the moon for an alien?
It hadn't risen above the mountains yet. All I saw was the glow around it, and I was like, is this it? Am I just on the wrong side of the mountain for a UFO sighting?
That's a thought.
And then a few minutes later, it was revealed to be the moon.
What would you do if it was revealed like, yeah, hybrids, they walk among us, but it's just the Toomgus? It's just
that's the only one.
That's the only one, and as soon as there's more, they're all gonna look like the Toomgus.
I think
Too much good stuff for those unaware.
if there were more of them,
mascot,
too much good stuff.
He's covered
absolutely.
in snacks.
Yeah.
And that would get me. I mean, if they're trying to milk me, cover yourself in snacks. I'm yours, baby. Chips, cookies.
The Tungus is just pushing Evan away. Stop, please!
Please.
I'm trying to live on
I want some
Earth!
red vines. Give me your
You
hair.
can milk me, I promise.
No! He's just like crying outside of the AMPM where he lives. Leave him alone, Evan!
I'm
Takes
hungry.
you to small claims court.
My other little quick story is I ordered a new phone charger from Amazon.
Got a new phone.
I get the little picture of it on my doorstep. And I'm at work when it happens, so when I get back from work, I go outside. There it is, just like the photo, laying flat on the doormat. I pick up the thing. It's pretty light. I'm like, oh, maybe I like mistook the Amazon like photo, and I thought I was getting the like the outlet, or the part that goes into the outlet and the cord, but maybe I only got the cord. Maybe that's why it's so light.
Or maybe it was all the moon.
I go to rip open that perforated edge. I can't quite get it open. I'm like, oh man, I'm gonna have to get scissors. And then when I go to get my scissors, I realize the package has been opened from the top, like a bag of potato chips. A perfect opening. Was my phone charger abducted by aliens?
It does beg the question, why wouldn't aliens be package thieves? If you went to another planet, this is clearing my throat. I didn't mean to make that appearance. Like, you go to another planet, you find these abodes, and then randomly, someone's got these little boxes, and they're walking around and go, oh, there's the one. And they set the box on that one and leave and grab another box to set somewhere else. You're not gonna want to take a peek at that box.
Yeah, because I think a human package thief would just take the whole thing and open it later.
Damn
the fact
straight.
that the package was left there on as if nothing had happened, I think it could be an alien.
I mean, that makes sense. It's not like somebody who was like, wait, was the plug missing or the cable?
It was an empty package that had been opened. So when I had it, nothing was in there.
Trouble.
Well, playing devil's advocate, sorry, Chris, is that someone was like, I feel really bad for stealing this. I really need to charge my phone, so I'm just going to give this guy false hope that he actually got his package. And was like, I'm just going to open it like a bag of chips, grab it, and leave.
I mean, I'm not ruling out human involvement, but it is suspicious. Like, why not just
hybrid activity?
Take it and run.
That is true. It is easier, especially like if you don't want to get caught, like in the act.
Right, exactly. What if I had opened the door and a human is standing there having just ripped open the package? Or an alien. Maybe I missed my chance.
You missed your chance at winning $1 million on the ring cam.
That's true. I need to get one of those.
I mean, yeah. I don't want one though. But anyways, something ekes me out about them. But Chris has said he desperately wishes he had seen one. He wants to feel special. I may have made up a sighting or have seen so much. Mary, have you sighted anything?
I have not. So in my memory, I'm like thinking about it. I did remember seeing something as a kid in the sky that looked like a cigar shape. The reason why I didn't think it was like a blimp or anything was because it was like, it was completely metal. Like, it looked like an airstream in the sky kind of thing. But as an adult thinking back to it, it might have been man-made, because I've heard from other people who have seen UFOs. They say the reason why you can tell between like a human-made UFO compared to like an alien-made one is if you can see the edges. Like a human-made one is like a crisp line edge. You could see the edges. But then like for aliens, it's like a fuzzy edge. Like as if it's hovering in the sky almost.
Yeah.
And so
Okay, interesting.
I was like, okay, so maybe I didn't see like an alien made UFO, but I did see something that was bizarre and weird as a kid.
Or is that just that was the best they could do at altering your memory?
That was the best that they could do.
It's so deeply embedded, we can't get it out completely. Let's just make her think that she saw the edges.
There are some times where I'm like, did I? Because a lot of stories with abductees is that they have these weird false memories that are almost too perfect, as if it was like made by aliens to make it seem like it's like your memory kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I have this very specific memory that I think is really odd, and I've tried to explain it to my parents. And I was like, do you remember this happening? Where as a kid, me and my sister and my parents went to my mom's friend's house in like LA or something. But it was like it felt more East Coast fall, but we were in LA. And like I remember it was like an older couple. The husband took us up to this landing, this brick landing. There was like stairs to go up outside. And he was like, yeah, this is where Santa Claus lands. Because he was like telling us kids that Santa Claus would come there and land on this brick landing and stuff. And then I like tried to ask my parents about it recently. And they're like, I don't know what you're talking about. Like, I don't remember that at all. I was like, either it's a very vivid dream that I had made up, or it was a false memory that was created by aliens. Telling me that I was not abducted. I just met a guy who knew Santa Claus.
Yeah. Or your parents just don't remember it.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, I wonder too if like I haven't done a ton of like research into a lot of abductees, but the general I guess stereotype is that they're from like smaller towns, and us big city fat cats, the three of us, are unlikely to be abducted. But I wonder too if it's like, are people like us who are have at least like a passing interest in extraterrestrial life and activity, if they're not even going to bother with us, you know, if they try to like intentionally get the people who don't believe or care.
I think they are well, for us, we live in such like areas with a lot of people, so I wouldn't think that they would try to abduct people that are in like dense living areas.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Because like they'll be seen almost automatically.
Hard to get somebody in like the second floor of an apartment building,
yeah,
you know?
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Tell that to King Kong.
Well, so, famously not an alien.
Hybrid?
Yeah, no, you're right.
So there was like this one thing.
The perfect thing to walk among us, Evan. The perfect hybrid to walk among us. Aliens abduct someone and then replace him with a gigantic ape.
It goes
They'll
along
never
with
know.
They might not be all that smart.
There are so many, like, I think I implore the listeners to look into so many like different like abductee stories, because they're all so fascinating. Because there are a couple where it had other people to corroborate it.
Yeah.
There was one story, and I forgot who it was, she was like a serial abductee. She just kept on getting abducted. She was
Some
like, no,
people
I
have
don't want
all
this
the
anymore.
luck.
Where part of it is that it's like the missing time,
Yeah.
idea, where she would like be washing dishes and then she'll like come out of this fugue state and was sitting down at her dining table and 6 hours later kind of thing. Where this one time she had a friend coming to visit her, and they were like, yeah, when I was coming to you, I saw this dark mass fly over your house and leave. And she was like, that's so weird. I was missing 12 hours of my life. Like, when you came to come and visit me, I don't know what happened. And so that was like one of those moments where it's just two separate people experiencing two different angles of an abduction.
Yeah, that's interesting to get the different angles of it, because the only thing like that I've read is like people who are driving somewhere and they're all in the same car, and like they're passing through, like it's a dark like country road, and like something kind of looks off in the forest or whatever, but they're like, well, whatever, we got a weird feeling, but we still got somewhere to be. And then they get to their destination and they're like, yeah, it was like a 20-minute drive. And somebody was like, no, you said you were on your way 3 hours ago and you just got here. And they're like, well, we were only on like basically one road with no lights, so I don't know how that missing time could have happened. But that's the closest thing that I've read to like multiple people having the same experience.
That is, yeah, fascinating to me, because I've been like, I mean, I told you guys getting on here, I slept in today. I took melatonin and it knocked me out in a big bad way. But like, I've experienced that with sleep, where you go like, oh, I'm going to lay down, maybe take an hour nap. That happened this past weekend, and it was suddenly like 6 hours later. I'm like, I guess I went to bed in the middle of the day. And it's such an alarming feeling that like I can't imagine what that would feel like, being like, I didn't go to sleep, I was awake. I was doing something. Why did time pass? I have not experienced that, but I'd love to make time pass. Milk me. Chris and I, this whole podcast is just Chris and I want to feel special.
Yeah.
And we don't yet.
Yeah, I mean, even like the title of this podcast, How Do We Human, like we should be on the aliens' radar of like, this is the exact the epitome of human existence is this podcast.
If the small pocket of our listeners was just the small pocket of our listeners and one confirmed alien that like let us know, like,
What?
we're up here just checking out, it seems like a good source of information, I'd be satisfied. That's great.
Yeah,
maybe a hybrid
listener. Yeah, if you're an alien listener or a hybrid listener, please let us know. We'd love to hear from you. Let us know, by the way, if you actually want to milk people, or if that's just like a very harmful stereotype that Evan and I have been exploiting for the last 40 minutes.
Oh gosh. Oh gosh.
Well, I guess that's what a great place to wrap up, Evan. Unless you have a story that you want to toss out here. It seemed like you were ramping up to something.
I do have something to say, and that is that you can listen to this podcast anywhere. Now, what have we learned? I don't know. We got nothing. This is the crux of alien talk. Is there's very little to learn and more to posit and consider. I think more than knowledge, we need openness and open communication.
Do you think, by the way, sorry, not to interrupt here, but do you think that like people in today's government, as broken as it is,
your Matt Gates
Well, we can think of anybody else.
On the forefront of getting that alien thing going. I'm just saying. I trust no one.
Do you think that people in today's government are like, we know that that aliens are that we have proof of alien life, and the only reason that we don't share it at this point, even though we know that the public mostly seems to be on the side of like, yeah, there's probably stuff out there.
Yeah.
But the government at this point is like, well, if we tell people now that we've been lying to them since forever,
Yeah.
well, they're never going to trust us again. So it's a snowball effect of like, we just have to keep lying forever.
Kinda. Makes sense to me.
I think I kind of agree with this one conspiracy theory that they're saving aliens for when just like everybody just turns against the government, which I'm pretty sure is gonna be soon because everybody is turning against the government. That there will be a quote unquote invasion, and this is what unifies human beings together.
Sure, like a season finale where
yes, exactly.
They're saving it to boost ratings. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. They tried the baby route, but now they're doing the alien invasion instead.
A little more milk.
The will they, won't they of aliens invading Earth.
Nah, I'm with you. The guy, it is funny to think about that because hey, we call the government. It's a one thing, but it's not. It's so many fucking people, and that is the funny part about like the Senate hearings. Is like, are you telling me that you've seen something and that we're doing it? Yes, I am. Us? You sure?
Us? Are you sure? Are you sure?
This guy,
yeah.
this face. Yeah, I don't know. Watch some documentaries. Think about it. Just be open to the idea because it seems very fucking likely. And the more we can all just talk openly about it, the more we can go like, this makes sense. That makes sense. Groupthink, always improv. We just need a word.
Zip zap zop aliens.
Zip, zap, pew, pew. You can listen to this podcast anywhere you damn well please. We're out there. Like aliens, we're not we're only seen by a few out there, but we are out there. We want to believe, and you can believe in us. We're on Apple Podcasts.
The podcast is out there.
The podcast is out there. You can milk me. You can milk us at Apple Podcasts, Spotify, our OnlyFans account.
That's right. This podcast has a joint OnlyFans account.
What if that comes before the Patreon?
I mean,
we can launch both at the same time.
Give the people what they want.
Yeah, we don't know what you want. Tell us what you want. You want a Patreon or an OnlyFans?
Tasteful nudes of us blocked only by the pop filter.
Yeah, you can almost see through it. Not quite. On any of those platforms, you can rate or review us in some capacity. Do so. Give us high ratings. Give us praise. Daddy Podbean loves to receive praise via us, and we need attention. And aliens aren't giving it to us, so we're looking at you, hybrids. Maybe that's our listeners. I've called them Howies before. Maybe our listeners will just call them all hybrids. Our little hybrids out there.
I like this.
You can also chat with us on social media. We're on the old Instagram at HowDoWeHuman.
We got that handle.
We're on the old Facebook at HowDoWeHuman.
I don't think you're ready for that handle.
We're on YouTube nowsabouts, and it's at HowDoWeHuman, believe it or not.
The handle is out there.
And you can send us an email. And that, I always start to say at, and then that confuses people because I'm like, where was the start of the email? Maybe our email should be, you can send us an email at HowDoWeHuman at Gmail. No, HowDoWeHumanPod@gmail.com.
The best part of that handle is that it's an email.
Hey, Mary, thanks so much for joining us again. What is this, your 30th appearance?
Yes.
We gotta get a 5-timers jacket for Mary.
Yeah, it'll be much cheaper, but I love the idea.
It's just a rag that says, great job.
I could find a rag, I'm sure. Is there anything you want to plug or let the people know?
Not really. Just keep on looking up in the skies.
Keep your eyes on the skies and the skies on the prize.
Is Blockbuster still on Netflix? If people go watch it, do you get those residues?
Yeah, please watch Blockbuster on Netflix before they wipe it off the whole internet.
Did you hear, we don't need to get into this too much, but did you hear that story that Netflix is thinking about opening like
A physical
regular
store?
stores? Yeah,
Oh
for
my
like video
God.
rentals.
Oh,
No.
God.
No, I did not. Yeah, sometimes you live long enough to see yourself become the villain.
Also, last time you were on was, of course, for Blockbuster, and you said if there's an episode about aliens, I would want to do it. Do you want to call your shot now? What what episode do you want to do next, Mary?
Let's see. What am I fascinated about? Let's see. I guess. Have you guys done one on plants?
We have not done one on
giants.
plants.
Giants?
We have not done one on giants.
Oh my God, I would love to talk about giants.
Giants and plants.
Yeah, of course, with the giant beanstalk, they cross over.
They do cross over.
That is true. We'll probably talk about the Jolly Green Giant.
Yeah, we will write that down.
A giant shilling for plants.
And we will do that. Sorry, what were you saying, Evan?
We don't. Okay, we just a little mini segment here because we are. Wait. Oh, it is. My computer just scared the shit out of me. I was like, wait, why is it November? We are theoretically like a week or weeks away from finding out the sexiest man alive of 2023. Any thoughts? Any guesses? Any predictions?
Let's see.
Who was it last year?
Apparently it was Chris Evans. I have no memory of that.
Okay.
It went Paul Rudd.
Yeah,
in,
it went
right.
21.
Chris
Evans at 22. I didn't hear about that.
I'm gonna call. Okay, sorry. I'm gonna say Pedro Pascal.
Oh yeah, I mean that has to be it, right?
That's a good one.
I settled my case. I think you are 100% correct.
I might do a left field pick, even though he's not really, because People magazine is mostly for like older gals, if you will. I don't think he's on their radar. But I was gonna say Jacob Elordi.
Oh yes, Elordi.
Yeah,
that's his name.
Yeah, he's playing Elvis in the new Priscilla movie. That's why I thought of him.
He's
he's
in there.
Guess.
I think it was whenever it came out. We were Chris and I were because we talk about this for some reason. I guess you do 2 episodes on the fact, and you become very involved in it. And in the height of beef, I was throwing out the Stephen Yeun flag again, but it feels like that's kind of died down, and he's gone back to hermiting and doing very indie movies that probably aren't big enough for people to be aware of. But
You gonna pick Travis Kelce, Evan?
ooh, actually, that's
It's another
good
solid
pick.
guess.
Ooh, that's a good
Another
guess.
good pick. It might be too short notice. All right. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's Pedro Pascal. I think it's got to be.
That's a solid, safe answer.
It is,
And,
yeah. And People
what-
magazine is often very safe.
That's also another thing to think about. You discover, because magazines still exist. Aliens
Yeah.
don't know. People don't really read magazines all that much. But if you come down, you go to a store and there's a magazine called People. What else are the aliens reading? You think
Right.
aliens aren't reading People magazine and making big, wide judgments on us?
Yeah. This is the
They are.
sexiest man alive. Blake
They
Shelton.
They dropped it after Blake Shelton was on the cover.
This can't be. You got the people, the voice. These are the things they're watching. They're out there. We gotta wrap this up.
All right. Well, Mary, again, thank you so much for being on this episode and being our most beloved guest, our most frequent guest.
Yeah.
And we will look forward to talking about plants and giants in the future.
Can't wait.
I hope the aliens listen to that one too.
Yeah.
Good research. Okay, bye.
Okay, bye.